All right, welcome back to the Inner. Today I'm joined by Siba, Ptah Seeker Asar. Ankimat.
What? Wausiba. Panata, Apupa Ma'at. How sweet is the Ma'at truth of the partner through. Was Dejed. Life, power, stability. Unk Uja Seneb. Life, prosperity, health. Ubin Nefi Ke Panda Buharu Ma'ati. Rising always in divine excellence with Ma'at. Every day, all day. All day, every day. Dua Usiba. So honor and a privilege to be on your platform today, the Inner.
That's great. So, if you could introduce yourself to the audience, tell them a little bit about yourself.
Okay, Anouk, and we're going to talk Medu Neta. We're going to talk the English language, but we're also going to break things down for you. We're going to triangulate everything with sacred science, divine math, and your cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality. Everything is about triangulation. We're going to triangulate the sacred math, the divine math, the sacred math, the divine mathematics, and your cultural, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality. Because we do not have a religion. We are not religious people. We're spiritual people. Okay. And we're going to add the astrology and astronomy to bring the resonance with the Meduneta for the sounds, the frequencies, the waves, make everything so that we can have everybody can be into a vibratorial frequency. So somebody might receive an epiphany today. Somebody might have their first day, and your first day is part of your divine birthright, which is what we're going to talk about, immortality, the precious treasure. But Anouk, Ptah Sikasa. Anouk means I am. Anouk, Ptah Sikasa. I am the royal scribe, master craftsman, and keeper of Tep, time, of Tesha Pera. Tesha Pera in Meduneta means, Tesha means holy, Per means house, and Ra means the light. So this is the temple of Tesha Pera. I'm from the holy house of Ra. Okay, and I've been there. I've been training in the house of Tesha Pera for 65. I'm 69 right now, so they used to push me in the stroller around there. So what do we say? 65 years. I was consciously and cognitively, intelligently in tune with the temple surroundings. So, and inside the temple surroundings, what we teach here, we teach primordial temple discipline. We teach the Nagaship. People you know are historians, are scholars. They teach his story. I am not a historian. I am not a scholar. I wouldn't insult my ancestors or myself or even you to even call myself a scholar. Because to call yourself a scholar means that you went to the school of Plato. Plato is a Greek who made the first institution of scholarship. And Plato was taught by me in Kemet in Africa. He graduated, or I don't know if he even graduated. He might have crept out of here. I don't know how he got out of there, but he went back to Greece and he opened up a school of scholarship. So for me to call myself a scholar is an insult to you and my ancestors. But I do have scholarship. I do have scholarship. I do my due diligence. I definitely expect you to do your due diligence. But don't call yourself a scholar because you're insulting your ancestors because they teach you his story. Now, all the teachers I know are very great historians. You ask them anything about history, they'll tell you everything. They'll tell you anything about history. Ask them about our story. I will teach you. We're going to discuss our story. Mm-hmm. And our story spans millions and millions of years. It's documented in Meduneta, in stone. I don't care if you're blind. You can read it, okay? So let's just make one thing. Let's just address the elephant in the room right off the jump, okay? All right, I am not a scholar. I'm here because I have mothers dying, mothers crying, babies dying, and stars aligning. And I'm here so that I may endow you with the blessings of your divine birthright, which is the precious treasure. And this precious treasure is called immortality. The sweetest thing you can get. Immortality. That's your divine birthright. You was born with your divine birthright, but they stole it from you from the moment you was born. They stole your divine birthright. First thing you did, you was born. We're gonna get I'll pause. I just gotta talk about this for you. First thing they did when you was born, you got a birth certificate. And your birth certificate was added into the stock exchange of the New York Stock Exchange as legal tender, and you became a prisoner of maritime law under the corporation of the United States of America. For you scholars, you want to Google something, you got to start Googling that, okay? And then they stole your time, and they gave you a Gregorian calendar, a Gregorian chronological timeline. And that Gregorian chronological timeline is a lunar cycle calendar. And being a lunar cycle calendar, it's a perpetual calendar. We're gonna go into it and tell you our calendar. But right now, I just want to discuss what they gave you at your birth, just at your birth. And that birth was a perpetual calendar. So January the 1st, 2024 is on, hypothetically speaking, is on a Monday. 2025 is on a Tuesday. 2026 is on a Wednesday. 2027 is on a Thursday. And 2028 is they got a leap year for you. So that means you got to jump with this. So it's going to be on a Saturday. So 2028 is on a Saturday. So that means it's a perpetual calendar. Our calendar is perennial. These are Greek and Latin words that I'm using for your scholars, so that we can stay in tune, because I know you have to have your scholarship. Excuse me. Now, in 7 years on this Gregorian calendar, perpetual calendar, the star that was in the sky at your birth, because you have a star of your birth and a star of your transition. And the star in the sky at your birth is no longer in the sky 7 years from now. So it's not your birthday, okay? That's just common sense. If your birth star isn't in the sky, somebody did something to steal your birthday. And this is what they did. We're going to talk about this. We're going to realign you to the cosmic vibratorial frequencies and establish you back into your precious treasure of immortality. Yeah. And so, yes, and inside the temple, we teach primordial temple discipline. So when you come in the temple, the first thing you would learn is, as a child, you would learn your medunetta. You learn how to read, write. You learn how to your colors. You know, your 1, 2, 3s, your ABCs. The same thing you're teaching your same kid today. And the last thing you teach them is how to tell time. Now here we are, grown men and women, and we don't even know how to tell time. We're going to break time down mathematically, scientifically, with your cosmic, culture, cosmic, collective conscious spirituality in a minute. But we're just breaking this down. So it's just the introduction level. This is meet and greet the guests, okay? And so this is what you learn. Now you learn, after you learn how to your colors, your number one, and your 1, 2, 3s, your ABCs. Call somebody up if somebody touches you in the wrong spot. You got them uncles that want to be pedophiles and feverifiers and so on and so forth. The things you teach your children. Now you're growing up, and then, excuse me. And then, of course, might as well add this right now. It's called the livet. The food is the stomach is the key to salvation. So you must learn how to eat properly. So we call it the food. We call it the livet. We don't call it a diet. Most people have a diet. We don't have a diet because we're using Gregorian words. We're using Hellenistic words. We're using Greek and Roman words. You know what I mean? We're using etymology. Scholarship, etymology, right? So now if I'm using the word diet, And die isn't a word. So why am I using this word die in my food if I'm trying to live? So obviously everything is designed against you. Just using that Hellenistic terms, that Hellenistic Abrahamic monotheistic ideology is already designed to bring about your demise. You don't have a shot right out the bat. Your teachers are teaching you wrong. They're lying to you every day. Everything they teach you is a lie, okay? So let's just start it. Let's just address the elephant in the room at the beginning of the show, because when I go on, I really don't have time. I'm not here to babysit. I'm not here to take your temperature, and I'm sure not here to entertain you. I'm here to give you your divine birthright of immortality by acquiring the ability to experience the phenomenon of being, okay? So now you learn to live it. To live it is there's 5 rules to the live it.
Hold up. Before we go there,
okay.
we talked about history. We talked about our story. Let's hear your story. How did you embrace the culture? What was your journey into embracing the culture and becoming the guy that we have today?
I'm the luckiest guy on the planet. That's what I was. I'm the luckiest guy on the planet. I was born into it. My mother's name is Margaret Victoria Hawkins Williams. My father's name is Herbert Williams. She was married to Wendell Wallace. And I have 4 brothers and 1 sister. No, I have 5 brothers and 2 sisters from that first stock. And then my mother married my father, Herbert Williams. And I have 3 brothers from there. So there was 9 of us. There was 10 of us. And I was the baby. I'm the baby. Okay, so I was just gifted. I was born in the temple. My brother, who I just posted on Facebook, you'll see I just honored my brother who passed away last year, our great elder grandmaster Siba teacher, Heru He just passed away, and he was the master of the outer temple. So Teshapara has an inner temple and an outer temple. He was the grandmaster of the outer temple. In the outer temple, you learn, I was telling you, you learn how to read, write, speak, colors, so on and so forth. You learn your ABCs, 1, 2, 3. Then you learn how to farm the land. You learn agriculture. Then you learn carpentry. You learn how to build a house. You learn how to build a shelter. Then you learn martial arts. So he was the master of the martial arts. He taught you karate, judo, jiu-jitsu, aikido, kickboxing, kung fu, gung fu, northern weaponry, and he put them all together. And he combined karate, you block and you thrust. Kung fu, you block, but you break. You break, and then put the finger in the eye. Okay, it's 2 moves. Then you go gung fu, you block, you block, you block. Break, put the finger in the eye. It's 3 moves, okay? The Egyptian form is 4 moves, okay, at one time. You understand? So if you knew martial arts, you would know that all martial art came out of Africa. The African people, black kids, is melanated. It's black people who brought martial art to the table of the world. Now, even in karate, if you know Matsutatsu Oyama, which we study Matsutatsu Oyama, which is Shotokan karate. And the first part of his book is a big book. It says, "This is karate." That has a tiger on it. That's Shotokan. And the first page, he tells you right off the rip. Shotokan came out of Africa 5,000 years ago by Bodhi Hadrama. Okay? Now, this is a Japanese guy telling you that his knowledge and his spirituality and everything he knows came from African people. Now, most Japanese and most Oriental people will tell you that, but they don't tell you that today. They don't tell you that the first emperor of Japan was black. The first emperor of China was black. The first emperor of all of Asia, they were all black people. They worship black idols here to the day today. They worship everything they worship came from black people. They're called Nagas, the Nagarjuna, the Buddha. The Buddha has the beady head Buddha, not that big fat dude. Not that big fat Buddha. That's the Hellenistic Buddha. Okay, or the Buddha with the long hair. That's that Greek Buddha. Talking about the original Buddha is a black man. They're called the Nagas. The early Africans of Asia were African. It was a global Naga presence. But yes, and then after Heru taught you martial art, then he prepared you to be introduced into the inner temple. So, and I went from the outer temple to the inner temple. That's when you learn the intellectual consciousness of ascending in level of the manifestation of consciousness, and learning how to identify with these astrological and astronomical celestial objects and all the principles of our teachings, and so on and so forth. So I was gifted, and then I became an artist. I became a scribe, and I became everything that I had to do. I had to do everything I had to do to be whatever I had to be. That's what I do. That's what I did, and that's what I reconstructed. So everybody thought that we are in our teachings, because we was taught by the Greeks and the Romans through scholarship, through the school of Plato, and the prophecies of the pyramids or the Merku were that in the year 2001 would be the end of one cycle, the beginning of another. We come to find out it was in 2012. But in 2001, it said that the world would go under environmental relapse. And where there's water, there'll be land. And where there's land, there'll be water. And 75% of the world population will be destroyed. 10% will wander the planet in stark fear, not knowing who they are. That's like an LSD trip. And 15% will be the inheritance of this planet. And this was golden. This was supposed to be the golden bar of truth. But come to find out, it didn't happen in 2001 because it says in 2001, Yom Kippur, on September 15, 2001, Yom Kippur, the Jewish holiday, there will be no more Jews on the planet. The world will be, where there's water, there be land, and where there's land, there be water. That's called environmental relapse, okay? And that 25% of the world will only remain, and 10% will wander the earth in stark fear, not even knowing who they are. And that's like a zombie. Like today, you're a zombie. Okay, you're a zombie today because if you know about body frequencies, if you just Google Dr. Taino, body frequencies, just Google it with your other device while I'm talking to you. Okay, I'm trying to give you receipts at the same time I'm talking to you, so I'm just not gibbering. You know what the hell is he talking about? I don't know. This way you can Google, do your due diligence. You're scholars. You're a scholar. Do your due diligence at the same time. I know you got another wireless device. I know you're recording me for the FBI. I know what you're doing. Well, hey, I got to do what I got to do. It doesn't make me no difference. So now we know that body frequencies, you're supposed to be over 24. We're living under 24 and under body frequency, and that's Candida. And you Google Candida, and Candida is Candida means you're dead. You're prematurely dead. Your eyes are blinking and your mouth is talking, but scientifically, you are scientifically dead. That's like being a zombie. And you don't know how to tell time. So if you don't know how to tell time, you're on the planet, that's rotating 24 hours, spinning around the sun, revolving around the 24 phenomenon precession, spinning around the Milky Way galaxy, spinning through the universe, and you don't know where you're at. So you're lost in space. So here you are, lost in space. You're a zombie. Okay, this is our present condition. And that's called, for you scholars, just Google injured humanity. It ain't hard. It's an easy equation here. Google injured humanity. And you're going to see some African people running around, and they call them the happy children of Africa. Injured humanity. Mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slaves. That's what they decreased us to, dehumanized us to being injured humanity, for those who do not know. Okay? So this is what we have to begin to understand our present situation here. Am I still in my bio? Where am I at here, Siba? I'm moving. My mind is moving at light speed. I just want to make sure I don't.
We were just going over some of your story. You getting into the culture. You said you were born into it.
Okay.
But let's get into the precious treasure. Let me pull up some of your slides.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is the Naga ship. And the Naga ship, explicitly talks about your divine birthright of immortality. And to know your divine birthright, okay, we're gonna go into this. This is a symbols. These are these are illustrations and chromatics and schematics of these pictures were designed by me specifically, and these are on the origins of existence and the creation development of the universe. That would be oblivion. Oblivion is the word equivalent to new, the primary ocean of nothingness, or dark energy, and scientifically, and NASA calls it the cosmological constant. But we use the word oblivion. Oblivion is the place of perpetual continuance of particles of existence are reduced to its lowest common denominator, invisible strings and strands. It is a form of existence that connects the concept of subspansion and expansion. Its boundaries are endless and ever-reaching, indicating that it is the outer cover of this universe of radiation and light, and the inner cover that encloses this place, this universe of dualism. This is the place of the all of alls, the holy of holiest, that sandwiches the universe of radiation and light. This qualifies it as the place, a plane where matter can be reduced, absorbed, and then stored for the purpose of continuous perpetuation, where particles of the light and radiation are collected for the redistribution process involved in continuous evolution. Oblivion is the capacitor of capacitance. Capacitance is the ability to collect and store energy. This energy that is collected can also be released or discharged. From this energy that is released or discharged comes the laws of attraction and repulsion. Harmonic strings and strands represent the quantum result of the total decimation of the atom, leaving behind invisible electron lines of the magnetic flux. This is how most earliest ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors perceived, related, and also equated oblivion. But that was just, I don't want to bring you into the cosmic thought right now, because I want you to go in the room, get your oxygen tank filled. We're going to take you into the primordial ocean of nothingness. We're going to make you breathe water. We're going to make you breathe the cosmic water. It's called the primeval ocean of nothingness. But right now, these are just some of the pictures that are in my book. You have the book. Can you show them I don't have a book with me, but I sold all my books. I have a calendar. I don't have a book that I can show them. There you go. That's my book there, The Cosmic Egg, aka The Primeval Germ, a journey of 59 plus 21 zeros. You can find it on my website, www.ptahoriginals.com, or in the description below. Okay, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna go into the calendar for, because I want to. This is subatomic energy. We want to go into atomic energy. Our sun is a hydrogen atom. We call it the sun. You call it the sun. We call him Ra. Ra is a hydrogen atom. Okay, it's a proton and neutron surrounded by a nucleus that has an electron. Okay, that's atomic energy, and that's when we learn about time. So before we go into the PowerPoint and everything, the time, let's break down time. What is time? Time is the movement or measurement of the light through the void of deep dark cold space from one point or distance to another. Its speed is 198,000 miles per second. Light is the absence of darkness, and darkness is the absence of light. Light is the giver of Ankh, life, to all things on the terrestrial plane within the atomic domain. Life is the consciousness and awareness of being. Life is the generic expression of the light. And it's only found in three forms exclusively: solids, liquids, and gases. Matter, the elements, nature, the gods and goddesses. This is what we're doing. We're triangulating. Remember, everything we're doing scientifically, mathematically, a cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious, spiritual. However, the light is not the Zep Tepi. Zep means first, Tepi means time, first time. Origins of existence, creation, development of the universe, and Medu Netta. The light is not the Zep Tepi. The light is not the origin of existence of the creation, development of the universe. The light has a mirrored reflection. And that mirror reflection is radiation. How do we know? How do you know it's radiation? What am I doing? Just blowing smoke on you? This is when we use our sacred science, our divine math, and our cultural, cosmic, collective, conscious spirituality, so that we can find out exactly what is Ma'at. So when the sun shines its light on you, or any radiance of the light hits upon you, it creates a shadow. So you look down at that shadow and say, well, what is the shadow? I mean, it's following you everywhere you go. But can you tell me what it is? Nobody tell me what the shadow is. The shadow is a mirrored reflection of the light. And if the light is atomic energy, then obviously the shadow is subatomic. The light is heat. The radiation, the shadow is radiation, which is movement. Heat and movement, light and radiation, heat and movement. These are the laws of the Naga ship. These are the laws of the precious treasure. You're going to learn it all, so that we're going to go through it also. And you're going to, and somebody here might have their first day. But if you woke up and you ate flesh this morning, it won't be your first day, but it'll be your first awakening. But your first day is your first day. It's beautiful to have your first day. We want everybody, we want as many as we can to have their first day. That's why I'm here. I'm not getting paid for this. I don't have a dime. If you have anything, he has a PayPal. He has a Cash App. You donate to the inner, to this broadcast with our brother Nelson. I want you to donate to, I know you're over there smoking that cauliflower, you smoking that Buddha, whatever you're doing, wasting your money. Take a little bit of that money and put it in his Cash App. And we'll love you for that, okay? We want to hear. Matter of fact, do you have anything? You got your thing already reading up, sir? How many? To make sure that Cash App starts popping. I don't know how many people are going to be watching. I really don't know. I know it's live. I know it's recorded. I don't know. I really don't. I'm just talking. But anyways, let me get back to this. I like to keep a little comedy in here, keep a little, because we're getting ready to go cosmic. When we go cosmic, we're going to make that little Gerber in your brain that's running around on that wheel have a heart attack. Not have a heart attack, but search for some oxygen. You're going to be running a marathon. You're going to start off with a sprint. You're going to go into the marathon. Okay? You're going to be breathing water in a minute. We're going to take you. I want you to everybody get the little oxygen tank. We're going to need it in a minute. This is, little warning. Oxygen tank needed. Okay, so we're going to go to, so this is what we said. So time, okay, there's light. The light is a mirror reflection. The light is not the origins of existence and creation of development universe. The light has a mirrored reflection, which is radiation. Okay? So if you don't know what radiation is, you don't know what the shadow is. But if it got so hot out here, if it gets so hot outside and you see the shade, I bet you jump in the shade to cool off. Okay? So you're talking attraction and repulsion. Okay? We're talking, these are principles and elements. We're going to break these things down later on in the program. We want to talk about time. So what they did was they stole your time. Remember, they stole your time. Remember, so the real thing is there's 9 days in a week. Before the Romans and the Greeks, there were 9 days in every week. And time was kept by charting stars that were visible on our calendar. Aware of the movement of the earth, stars, and moon, these ancient African indigenous primordial ancestral peoples were cosmically attuned. So for you scholars, you want to understand that there was originally 9 days in a week. We know this under what they call calendar reform. Just Google calendar reform. And if you Google calendar reform, you'll notice it will say 754 AUC. It won't say BCE or BC. It will say AUC, which means Ab, A-B, Urbe, U-R-B-E, and Cortita, C-O-R-D-I-T-A. Ab, Urbe, Cortita. Just Google as we talk. These are your receipts. Okay? And this happens in 754 BCE with Eratosthenes. Just put E-R-A-T-H-O in predictive text is going to say Eratosthenes because they think you're an ecclesiastic person. They think you are a theologian or ecclesiastic. Ecclesiastic is a church dignitary. Okay? The theologian is one of the scholars. Okay? They don't know you're just from the berry. You don't know you're from the ghetto down the street. But you put in the right words, the right key words, and they're going to think, and they're going to give you the information, right? And this is what you put in. You put in Eratosthenes. And they're going to give you Eratosthenes and Aristarchus, A-R-I-S-T, Aristarchus, S-T-I, and predictive text will give you Aristarchus. They know, they're going to give you Aristarchus because they know what you're looking for. Predictive text knows what you're looking for because you're ecclesiastic or a theologian. All right, so this is what you're part of your due diligence. I mean, part of your scholarship that you're learning. You're doing scholarship, you're supposed to know this. That's how you do your work, and you get the information by performing your due diligence. So first calendar reform is 754 AUC. So that means that 250 years before that was 1000 BCE or AUC, which was the Kush. This was Nubia now. So Nubia ruled Kemet in 1000 BCE or AUC. BCE is before the Christian era. Okay. And 1000 BCE to 750 was the Nubians in Upper Kemet, which is the Lower Kemet, because the plant Africa is upside down, because we know it's upside down because the Nile is running up into the Mediterranean, and the Nile cannot run uphill. We know water cannot run uphill. Okay, a child can tell you that. You pour water out, it's going to go down because of gravity. Okay, we got a picture of that. He's going to give you some. We got the schematics and chromatics and illustrations in this PowerPoint, which will give you a visual contents of that. And so that now that we know that, then now down to so they lost control of the Semai-Tawi. Semai-Tawi is when they ruled Upper and Lower Kemet. That's called the Semai-Tawi. The Semai-Tawi is the unification. Semai-Tawi also it means in Medunetta, it means the unification of the two craniums, of the feminine and the masculine. It represents the myrrh, the love of our cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality, and the attunement of our spirituality with the universe and the vibratorial frequencies and the cosmic forces that afford, allow you love, guidance, protection. So this word Semai-Tawi is very deep for your Medunetta interpretation. So we're going to give you some Medunetta translations. We're going to give you get everything, full flavor here on the inner with Siba Nelson and Ptah Sikasa here today. Go ahead, Siba. Anything you want to say? Leave me another. Keep me on point.
No, you're doing good. Let's get into the calendar. Let's go into time now.
Yes. Well, yes. There you go. That's what I was leading. That's what we was leading to. You know, you gotta keep corralling me because I'll drop them off inside the primeval ocean of nothing. They'll be breathing water in a minute. I don't want them to breathe water too quick. Okay. All right. So this here is my MP3 audio recording on the calendar. It's dynamics. It's geometrics, and it's everything that the essence of the calendar is broken down. There's the schematic of the Shenu legend. That's the Shenu legend. But let us go into it right now. The knowledge of the stars is evident in Epeteru Shabit Dem Tuaru Pamat. And you, fortunate listeners here today, will soon come to the realization that this understanding was omitted in the development of calendars of other cultures. In this text, I have mentioned a few and will now elaborate on those other calendars and be introduced to you the ancient African Kemetic Basarian solar civil lunar calendar and its unique concept of star time. According to the New Book of Knowledge, a calendar is a system for keeping track of time. It is a kind of clock for the entire year. While a clock measures seconds, minutes, and hours of the day, a calendar measures the days, weeks, and months of the year. This is the accepted definition of a calendar. However, in ancient Tameri, Tanisha, Taneferu, Tanetaru, Kemet, Naga, Egypt, the calendar is a seasonal time chart that was regulated and observed by understanding the precession of the stars. From a section entitled, How the Modern Western Calendar Measures Time, the basic units of a calendar are day, week, month, and year. Our modern day calendar has 365 days, divided into 12 months as well as 52 weeks with one extra day. Each week has 7 days. These divisions of time are based upon the movement of the earth, moon, and sun. Where are the mention of stars? Our most earliest ancient African indigenous primordial Naga, Shemseru, Nesupiti, Siwasibat, Smudatat, the immortal ones of Ma'at, cherished ancestors, star-dated everything. In the temple of Peru that was discovered by Napoleon's General de Saxe during the French intervention of African Egypt in 1798 AD, Inside on a ceiling in an upper room, they found the zodiac of Dendra, starting with the sign of the lion, Leo, during the spring equinox. This circular zodiac indicates a celestial alignment that occurred over 38,000 years ago, making it the oldest and most complete of any astronomical charts ever found on the Earth. This zodiac of 12 astrological signs, written in an African dialect, demonstrates that it was a gift of superior Black minds and supersedes accepted concepts that suggest that the Chaldeans or Babylonians were the originators of astrology and astronomy, and or that zodiac with its Latin names were the result of Roman efforts. Remember, zodiac in Latin means zoo. That famous gap always presents itself. Well, let me reassure you today that 38,000 years ago, there was no Europe or Rome, and there were no Hebrews, nor Greeks, or Babylonians. The zodiac can be observed inside the squared center of the Ausarian solar calendar. The alignment also indicates a time when the star Septet, Sirius, rose cosmically with Ra, our sun, under the sign of the great year Pisces. This helical rising of two kindred stars occurs every 1,461 years and was in unison with the Apagamor days, or Renpet, the ancient Egyptian New Year's, and was known as the symbolic year, or year of years. Now, here was an ideal model of a 38,000-year-old calendar that was in perfect alignment with the stars, and it also was rejected. Why? Let us examine the information that is and was available. The ancient Egyptians conceived of a cycle that included day and night and duat and tuat, and these periods were awarded a certain amount of time. In the modern calendar, this cycle is called a day, the amount of time it takes the sun to rise, set, and then rise again. Each day includes a period of sunlight and darkness that was determined by the rotation of the earth and the position of the sun. The ancient Egyptians, of course, they gave names to these days, and this practice is still continued. In early calendars, a month was the amount of time it took the moon to complete an orbit and undergo its cycles, recalling the very early calendars that were based upon the cycles of the moon, where each cycle of the moon takes 29 and a half days. Compiling a calendar of 10 months would result in a year that is only 354 days long. The Romans, they had 10 months in their early calendar, which ended in the month of Dise, 10, which had the shortest of years. If we add 13, we arrive at 383 and a half days. There is no correct solution if the moon is the principal inspiration. Today, it is known that it takes 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 46 seconds for the Earth to complete a revolution of the sun, which designates a year. This created a problem of what to do with the extra 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 46 seconds. How could the extra time be taken into account? The European answer was leap year. To make up the extra time, 1 day is added to the calendar every 4 years. Because of this, many uncertainties have occurred, causing other cultures to create or retain their own calendars. From the zodiac, such as the one found in Dendra, the ancient Egyptians formulated a 10-month solar calendar. This understanding is reflected within the Ausarian solar calendar, which introduces itself as a star chart that is derived from the most earliest ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors' concept of time and space. It would please me very much at this time that if everyone listening to this recording would consider this premeditation of a calendar. In the vernacular, outer space was the timeless void of darkness before the introduction of the light. Ra was the light, and as the light moved within the void, time was introduced. Our sun is a member of a trinity of suns that play major roles in the development of our quadrant of stars, planet, moons, and life forms. The word was given, and the 3 stars began to move apart from one another. The names are Ra, Sirius, and Alcyone. As this separation occurred, the surface of each was lessened by great masses of viscous matter that seemed to escape into space, only to be captured by the gravitational pull of its inceptor. These 3 stars highlight much of what it is that we see today as we gaze upward and outward. Our view is restricted only to the natural alignment of our Earth and our northern hemisphere. From these bodies of light comes the makings of our zodiac, our solar system, and all the visible constellations. With this natural order as their grid, the 10-month solar calendar was fashioned. Our solar system has 10 heavenly bodies, 1 sun and 9 planets. Thus, they factor together a calendar of 10 months, each consisting of 36 days, 4 weeks in a month, 9 days in a week. They developed a system of 60 seconds to a minute and 60 minutes to an hour. This was done by adding the 12 miles a second it takes the sun to travel around Alcyone. Multiplied 10 times gave them 120 miles of movement in 60 seconds, until realizing that at each cycle of 60, a new star alignment occurred. Thus, the civil year was born. It came to be understood the civil sighting of Sirius occurred annually at the same time. The sighting of Sirius provided the answers to the number of hours in one orbit of the Earth around the Sun, which is 8,766 hours. Armed with this information, a calendar could be accurately devised, consisting of 10 months of 360 days, 4 weeks in a month, 9 days in a week, and 8,766 hours in a year. What made the solar calendar so unique was its concept of time allotment, such as allotting 12 hours to the day and 12 hours to the night, and 35 minutes that were split between the duat and the tuat, the latter being the periods between sunrise and sunset, respectively. This resulted in the sighting of familiar stars at a predictable and seasonal occurrence. Each day of the year was heralded by a star that gave identity to your significance. And in this way, they related the time in the stars. Every second was accounted for, and the natural order was observed. This produced the first of the ancient Egyptian calendars. It was known as a solar calendar of 360, 24-hour, 35-minute days of the year, based on the sighting of stars. This is an understanding that went beyond the moon and allowed 100% accuracy. Now, some of you in the listening audience may ask the question, did our most earliest ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors equate the moon to their calendar? Yes. Strangely enough, in their own way, they did. Jehuti, the teacher of Ausar, was known as the Neter of the Moon. It was under his instigation that the Jehutian calendar, consisting of 365 days and a quarter day, comes into being. Because of the strong effect that the moon displays in other calendars, they are without a doubt derived from this system. The story continues in classic ancient Egyptian pageantry that weaves fact with fiction and theories that involve the movement of the stars. It was after the Earth was saved from the insects and the planet was ready for humankind that Ra had forbid the allotment of more time so that mankind could be born on the Earth. Only within the existing order of time would life forms be allowed. All the other forms were created and surviving. Only mankind need be added to complete the 7 forms of life that are found on the Earth. Seb, the Earth Neter, petitioned Lord Jehuti, the Moon Neter, to plead with Ra, the Sun Neter, for an allotment of time, so that his mate, Nut, the Sky Netert, could give birth to the Earth Neterus. But Ra was unrelenting. It was known that the great company of Neterus would often gather and engage in games of chance. Ra was in need of someone to give names to all the forms of life which he had allowed to evolve. And in this way, his works would have meaning. You see, he was beginning to grow old from the billions and billions of years of existence. He found this task too tedious. A wager was arranged between Ra and Jehuti, with the winner indulging the other. Jehuti would name all the forms of life which he had allowed to evolve if he should lose. While should Ra lose, the 35 minutes that exist between the duat and the twat would be forfeited. In a wager that is known only to the great company of gods and goddesses, Lord Jehuti was the victor. He claimed his prize. The 35 minutes of time that he gained control of, even an exact cycle of 10 months, 4 weeks, 9 days, totaling 360. The 35 minutes when multiplied by 360 total 5 and a quarter days, added on to a year that still had 8,766 hours. The question now is, how could our most earliest ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors add 5 and a quarter days and not have a leap year? This also clarifies the final usage of the moon in our calendar. If you recall that on the zodiac of Dendra, there are mention of the Apagamor days, or Renpet, the ancient Egyptian New Year's. These are the days that were gained by Lord Jehuti The 5¼ days that were added on to the 360-day Earth orbit are the days that the Earth Netchers were born. In the Ipeteru, Shapitem Tuaheru Pamaat, the ancient African Vasarian Kemetic solar civil lunar calendar, and the Natharuological star timeline, they are visible in the month of Ptah, with the moon going through its phases, signaling the sighting of the star's subject in the 5¼ days of observance. Until the stars align again, starting the new year. These 5¼ days are accounted for by fasting, prayer, festival, celebration, and observance. Every second of the orbit of the Earth is accounted for in that singular revolution. There was no need of leap year. This is the understanding that was lost, stolen, and denied with the intervention of Julius Caesar and the Romans. It is obvious that the Romans dissected the Jehusian calendar, which is in use today, adding Latin names and interpretations and the concept of leap year. Remember, the word calendar originates from the Latin word calendae. The Ipeteru, Shabitem Tua Heru Pamaat, the ancient African Vasarian solar civil lunar calendar and the Natharuological star timeline, is all of these calendars in one, with 3 versions that encompasses the message that was depicted on the ceiling of the ancient Egyptian temple of Heru and Dendera. And in closing this short presentation of the Nagaship, I would like to recite the words of our great paternal father, Ausar Nefer Kentiamenti, that within the whole of the universe, nothing is ever added and nothing is ever lost. Panata Pupama'at Onkwastejeron Kuja Sanem Ubin Napike Pandebu Heru Ma'ati 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 Ma'ati. All right. That was good. We got that in. That's on our MP. That's an MP3 recording. This way, if nobody knew what a calendar was, nobody knew what our calendar was, and how I can. Now you have a clue of what's going on here. And this is what happened is they gave us a leap year. And this is how they stole your spirituality. Because when they stole this leap year, because the original calendar of mankind, there's only 360 days in a year. Because the earth has 3 motions. What are the 3 motions? What are the 3 dimensions of time? 4 dimensions of time and the 3 motions of the earth. The earth has 3 motions. It rotates. The earth rotates on its axis. Every rotation of the earth is 24 hours and 35 minutes is the original time. Okay, remember this. Let me reiterate. The earth has 3 motions. Its first motion, it rotates on its axis. Its second motion, it revolves around the sun. The third motion is the earth is tilted 23 degrees from vertical, which makes the earth wobble. You learn this in school, but this is what far as they bring you in school, because that's history. But once they tell you about this wobble, one complete wobble is 26,000 years. And this is called the phenomenon of precession, or the precession of equinox. So once they bring you to the phenomenon of precession, it's now our story, because they can't go no further than that. They can only go back to 1000 BCE. Everything after that is hypothetical. They're guessing. They don't even know. So now, and that means that the phenomenon of precession is the sun which moves through each and every sign of the zodiac. There's 2,160 years in each great age. There's 12 signs, so 12 houses. 12 times 2 is 24, and 1 is 1,000 is 25. And there's so many years, it comes out to 26,000 years. Okay? That's called the phenomenon of precession. So the earth rotates on its axis. It revolves around the sun 360 days under 24 hours and 35 minutes under the first rotation. But today we know that there's 24 hours in every day. So that means the second motion of the earth revolves around the sun is 365¼ days. If you was listening to the recording, they broke it all down. And now, so this is when they break in the leap year. So they have now, there's 5 extra days at the end of the 360 days, because there's 30 days in a month on the Gregorian calendar. Any calendar that has 30 days is a lunar cycle calendar. Why? Because it takes the moon 29 and a half days to wax and wane. From full moon to full moon is 29 and a half days. So if you have a calendar, I don't care if you're Chinese, Timbuktu in Africa, if you're Jewish, you're from Japan, or wherever you're from, if you have 30 days in a calendar, it's a lunar cycle calendar. And a lunar cycle calendar can only do basically one thing, but it does three things specifically. But it basically feeds you. It's an agricultural calendar. It's a seasonal calendar. Okay? It can also, it regulates the woman's menstrual cycles. It regulates the high and low tides and the inundation and the receding of the Nile River. Okay? That's a lunar high tide and low tide. That's a lunar cycle calendar. Our calendar is solar, sidereal, and lunar. See, we have all three. And then I took the Gregorian calendar and I superimposed it right on top of our calendar because there's nothing but a plagiarized version of our calendar anyways. So it was easy. That's what they stole the calendar from us here. So I superimposed it right on top to make this a practical calendar. So, so you can still see the 7 days a week in it, so that you can still go to the plantation and get your paycheck. You know, you don't care what day it is. All you want to know what day I get paid. Only thing any black person wants to know about a calendar, what day is payday? Ptah, you got 9 days. Hold it, brother. I ain't trying to hear about 9 days. I get paid 7. What day is I get paid on? So we're going to deal with you and your little petty issues right now before you can graduate and I can acclimate you to your divine purpose. Because this is what a plantation mentality will do to us. But anyway, so now they gave us a lunar cycle calendar. So now the thing about the lunar cycle calendar is it's 30 day. It has 30 days in every month, which means that listen to me, please, every 130 years, one unearned day is added to the calendar. Let me reiterate. The lunar cycle calendar has 30 days in a month, which means that every 130 years, don't mind me, I'm just getting over sickness. It's getting kind of cold in here. One unearned day is added to the calendar. Excuse me. Which means that you're not going to recognize it in your lifetime. You're not going to recognize it in your child's lifetime, nor in your third descendant's lifetime. You're not going to see it. But after 700 years, on the spring equinox, which just passed, which people think this is the New Year, the spring equinox, the New Year's. We're going to break what the spring equinox really represents. It represents the circumpolar stars of where we are located on our quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy. We got the illustrations, the chromatics, the schematics. They give you a visual comprehension of what we're talking about here. But when you're on the spring equinox in the morning before the sun rises, an hour and a half before the sun rises, is the ecliptic plane. The ecliptic plane is 23.5 degrees to the right. And that's the line that the constellations fall down, which is the phenomenon of precession, or the precession of the equinox. The zodiac runs backwards. It precesses. That's why it's called precession. It's not processes. A procession is a band, a parade marching down the street. That's a procession. This is a precession. And this precession means time goes, but the clock goes backwards. The clock goes backwards, that it precesses. When it goes forward, it's clockwise. When it goes counterclockwise, it's called precession. So that's what the zodiac does, or the 12 houses. I don't like to use the word zodiac because it's European words. We're going back into them Hellenistic, Greek, Gregorian words. I ain't trying to confuse you or set you upon a path of limitation. So, but for you scholars, I want to say that, okay? And so that means that now when you look at today, if you look at the sunrise on March 21st, if you was there and saw it, you would see that right where the sun is at, you wait, let the sun go, you wait an hour before that, and you'll see the constellation of Pisces is not there. So the constellation of Pisces, yeah, show the one with the bright, it's all daylight, it's all daylight. Show them the one, it's an all daylight picture. Thank you, sir.
I know
And
where
you'll
it's
see
at.
that right where the east is, the constellation of Pisces, which is like it's like a curling snake with a pyramid at the top. That pyramid cluster has fell below the horizon. There it is there. Okay, now on the right-hand side, you see that line going up to the right? That is called the ecliptic plane. That's the sign, the way the zodiac is going to come straight down. And right above the light to the right there, if you can use your fingers and enlarge it, can you enlarge that, sir? For the people? But if you can't, it's okay. But right there, that says Aquarius. That's the constellation of Aquarius. Right there, yeah, right there. Go down a little more, a little bit more. Yeah, oh, keep going in. Yeah, bring it up, bring it in, bring it in. Keep that there is Aquarius. There you go. That's going to be there right now for 2,161 years, whether you're here or not. You ain't got nothing to do with this. Your little punk lifetime ain't going to be nothing. You still be eating that meat and stuff. You ain't going to last up but 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And you'll be transitioning or you're going to die. I hate to use the word die because we do not die. Life is a continuation from one state to another. And so, bam. So now right where the sun is, if you go back an hour or so, which we're not going to do, you'll see the constellation of Pisces is no longer there. That means that we are no longer in the great golden age of Pisces, which we do not use the word Pisces. We call Pisces Uncle Set. And it's symbolized with two fishes going in opposite directions. These two fishes symbolically represent the helical rising. The helical rising, and it represents the binary stars. Them are two binary stars, which is our sun and the star Scepter or Sirius. And our sun and Sirius does a dance with Sirius and Sirius A and Sirius B does a dance with Ra, but it's really Sirius A. But Sirius B is running around Sirius A, so we have to include that in there, which the Dogons has shown us, and you can see it if you keep looking at Sirius during some types of the year. You'll see another light next to it, but you can't see it all the time because that star is spinning around that star, and sometimes that star doesn't show it. But anyways, that star in our sun does a binary dance, and that's why you see the symbol for Pisces is always two half circles entwining each other, or two half circles, and that circle is connected by a line. That's the symbol they use for the zodiac sign for Pisces, and it represents the binary movement of Sirius and Ra. It takes 1,461 years for the aphelion and perihelion, which means the closest they come together, then they go apart. 1,461 years, they come back together. That's a true helical rising. But just in the morning of July 25th, and now that's in the spring equinox, you see this here. This is what this indicates. And this shows you here where we are located on the galactic elliptical plane. Can you show them that one, the picture with the zodiac? The black hole. One looks like a spinning. It's spinning like a hurricane, and underneath it, there's one with a line with a circle, with a glow in the middle, go at the bottom. So that's an aerial view and a side view. That's what we're trying to get that illustration there. And then that shows you, and that little side view, not that one. That's the twin. That's the proton. We're gonna go into the photon belt. No, keep going. That's the chromatics of the photon. Keep going. Keep going. That's the 23.5 degrees tilt. Keep going. Okay, keep going. Go boom. Bing. No, okay, back to the zodiac. No more zodiac pictures in there. I didn't send that to you. Go ahead. Keep going the other way. Yeah, that's right. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
That's
okay, I didn't send it to you. Okay, I apologize, everyone. Okay, but anyways, you see this. If you look at a black hole, a galaxy, a black hole. If you look at a galaxy from an aerial view, it looks like a hurricane spinning. Okay, that's called the aerial view. Then the side view, if you look at it from the side view, it's nothing but a line. And in the middle is a glow, at the top of the glow on the bottom, that's the black hole. Well, that line is called the galactic elliptic plane. When I say where we're located on the galactic elliptic plane. That's what I'm talking about. And so our sun goes on the galactic plane, because we're looking sideways. It goes 15 degrees up and 15 degrees down. Goes 15 degrees down and comes up. That's the way we're moving around the galactic elliptic plane of our quadrant of the Milky Way galaxy. Okay? And so we're talking about the helical rising. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. I had to bring myself around. I was moving too fast there. So now on July 25th, on the Gregorian calendar, on the Giza Plateau, which is 30 longitude, 30 latitude, that line that runs from the Mediterranean Sea right through Kemet, down to Ethiopia, through Sudan, all the way down to South Africa. That's called the Nilotic Meridian. Okay? The Nilotic Meridian. Okay? And on the Nilotic Meridian, on July 25th, on the Gregorian calendar, the star and the sun rises together in Kemet. And when it rises together, it indicates scientifically and mathematically and astronomically that we have completed one complete orbit around the sun. That's called a sidereal year. And if you Google the word sidereal, or sidereal, tomatoes, whatever you want to call it, it means the amount of times it takes the star to break the plane, traverse the elliptic plane, and return to its original position in respect to the fixed stars is called a sidereal year. But anyway, and that takes 8,766 hours. What makes this so important is that now we can add the first rotation of the Earth. It rotates on its axis, which takes 24 hours and 35 minutes. That extra 35 minutes is split between, as we said, the duat and the tuat. The duat and the tuat is sunrise and sunset, or dusk and dawn. So our ancestors recorded just like the light on the wall right there. We're heading into the twat right now. The sunset. There's the duat. There's the twat. We're talking about it. And the Netcharoos are talking to us. It's reflected on the back of my wall like it's a screenshot. Okay? This represents the time that the European does not recognize this time. He says there's 24 hours in every day. And with these 24 hours, that takes away these 5 days. So that's why there's only 360 days. And now what happens is the only thing that separates the sky from the earth is, can anybody tell me what separates the sky from the earth? Generically, you're looking outside right now. What do you see? You see the sky. What separates it from the earth? It's the light. Only thing that separates it is light. So now when the sun sets, that's the galactic elliptic plane. That's what it is right there. There we go. There's the sun past that line. There is the side view. There you go. That's how the sun moves. It goes up 30 degrees, comes down 30 degrees, and it moves around that circle of the galactic elliptic plane. Great job, there, Siba. Hey, ding, 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 ding. Siba Nelson, the inner. Okay, so now, boom, boom, boom. Where was I at on the last word I said, Siba? Because I was just culminating to the final part of this whole thing here. Okay, so now, 24 hours and 35 minutes, 35 seconds, Bob, bing, bing. Okay, so they stole your time. They stole your connection to the cosmic forces with a lunar cycle calendar. So now 24 hours in every day means that there's 365 and a quarter days because there's 5 extra days. So the only thing, we're going generically. I'm breaking it down generically, scientifically, and mathematically. Okay, we're triangulating here, Sebas. Okay, I apologize. I'm back. My mind had just went through the cosmos too quick just then. Okay, we're back. We're triangulating. So now, what separates the sky from the earth is the light. When the sun goes into the west, into Amentet, and we cannot see the sun no more, what do you see in the sky? You see stars. How come you don't see the stars in the daytime? You see the sky. Now the sun sets, and then the sun in the morning, you see stars all day. All night. And then the sun rises, and now the stars disappear. And what do? You see the sky again. So this continuous, perpetual, generic motion is the cosmic forces that afford now you love guidance protection, which we call seven newts, who are making love. That's the sky and the earth. Because when the sun sets in the west, you don't see the sky because the sky is laying on the ground. And then in the morning, the sky comes up. And each day they're going up and down like this, which is generically they're making love. So now as you heard in the text, so Seb, the earth nature, petitioned Jehuti, the moon nether, for Jehuti, plead with Jehuti Seb, the earth nature, petitioned Jehuti, the Lord nether, to plead with Ra, the sun nether, for an allotment of time, so that his mate, Nut, the sky nether, could give birth to the earth nether rules. But Ra was unrelenting. Ra said, there's nothing I can do for you. Nothing I can do for you, Seb. You ain't having none of your little kids running around here messing up this planet. There's nothing I can do because time has already been allotted for. So when there's 24 hours and 35 minutes in every day, that means there's 6 forms of life on the planet. So when you get your math now, get your math together. What are the 6 forms that are 6 on the planet? There's plant, insect, reptiles, water creatures, birds that fly, and animal. Man and woman don't exist. There's only 6 forms of life. That means there's a picture there you'll see with the sky and the earth, with Shu holding them up on that papyrus paper. Show them that papyrus paper. I meant to send you the other one where there was just Shu and seven newt and nobody holding them up. So, but you got the one there that shows them somebody's holding them up. I sent you about 5 or 7 of them that somebody's holding up the sky. That's Shu. He's separating the earth from the sky because time has already been allotted for. But Jehuti waged with Ra for an allotment of time. So Ra needed someone to name all the forms of life which he had allowed to evolve so that his works would have meaning. They had a wager. Jehuti wanted that 35 minutes that exists between the Juwat and the Twat. And the way there it is there. And a wager that is known only to the great company of Necheruz, Lord Jehuti was the victor. He claimed his prize. The 35 minutes of time he gained control of even exact cycle of 24 hours, 10 months, 4 weeks, 9 days, totaling 360. The 35 minutes were multiplied by 360. The 35 minutes, when multiplied by 360 days, totaled 5 1/4 days. These are the days that were added on to the 360-day Earth orbit. These are the days that the ancestors, the first ancestors. So when you're talking to anybody and they're telling you some smoke about their ancestors, if they're not talking about this, they're blowing smoke. They're lying to you. This is what your teachers are doing. Your black teachers in the Kemetic community are lying to you if they talk about your ancestors and they're not talking about this here. This is your cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality. And I'm adding in the sacred science and the divine math because we're adding in the mathematics and how the mathematics of the amount of days it takes for it to rotate and the earth tilted on its axis. And we're adding in the astronomical configuration. We're adding this is the flavor of immortality, of consciousness. Consciousness is awareness of being. They call it the conscious community. There's no conscious community. There is no conscious community because consciousness is the awareness of being. So you have life. So they understand that. They think that the Ankh means life in the conscious community. Ankh doesn't mean life. It symbolizes life, but it doesn't mean life. This is how they're lying to you. This is how your teachers are pimping. They're stealing knowledge that the Europeans are giving them and giving it to you. That's called contraband. Contraband is black people conditioning other black people into mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slavery, into injured humanity. We just talked about that. Injured humanity is a mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slave. So if you don't know about being, if you think, because everybody's making millions of dollars off of black people and they're not kicking nothing back. Taking you to Kemet, charging you $5,000 to get to Kemet to be under them. It only costs $1,000 to Travelocity round trip to go to Kemet. So why I got to pay you $5,000 to get there? Because of the auditorium room and a symposium? Come on, I mean, enough is enough. Let's stop the pimp game, okay? Our people, I got mothers crying, I got babies dying, I got stars aligning, and we don't even know how to tell time. They're gonna tell me about the chemic calendar. They're gonna sell me a calendar. I told the concept of being, or the truth, or the legacy of our ancestors as is understood under the concept of self-creation. I asked them, who do they believe in? Don't mind me, I'm not digressing now, get personal there. I just say, let's address the elephant in the freaking room here. There's 9 days in a week. How do we know there's 9 days in a week? Let's go back to what we just talked about with calendar reform, 754 AUC. You go back, keep going, you go count down with 666, is the year 666, which they say, that's the year that 666 represents double. 666 year was the year of Nebuchadnezzar and Nebuchadnezzar, which is the Babylonian king who placed everybody into slavery. Then it goes down all the way down to 333. It goes to the Persians, after the Babylonians, down to the Persians and Darius, and then you keep going down to 33 and 333 BCE is Alexander. Alexander, the so-called great, the great Naga killer, the great killer of all African spirituality. That's when they began the concept of Hellenized. It was Hellenized. We became Hellenistic. Google the word Hellenistic. They have a teachings called soteriology. Soter. His name. Alexander had a general. Alexander died in India. They split up his kingdom. They took a cup. They took a big giant cup, right? And they put sticks in it. There was 18 generals, and there was the longest stick was pulled by Ptolemy. And Ptolemy got the first choice. You know what he chose? He chose Egypt. That's how Ptolemy got to Egypt. The luck of the draw. And he called himself Ptolemy Soter Serapis September Mary Amen. Google it. And you'll see a picture. It looks like Jesus. He was Jesus. He was the first Jesus. Jesus never existed. It's a lie. But there was a Christ. Don't get me wrong. There was a Christ. There was an anointed one, the one who brought forth the divine breath every 2,161 years of the turn of the great age. There is a Christ. Don't get me wrong here. I'm talking about this guy called Jesus, that slave ship that brought us over here. Okay, y'all better get yourself together. Your mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slaves. Let's just Google it. All you got to do is Google it. Everybody knows, but black people, his name was Ptolemy the First Soter. Soter in Latin means savior. Soter in Latin means savior. Google it. And they have a teachings, a philosophy, a theology, which is called soteriology. Google it. Soteriology. I live in Boston, Mass. Going through Cambridge, you pass through the pond, and you're going over to Harvard, going up to Harvard. They got a university here called soteriology. They teach soteriology, the concept of belief. So his name was Ptolemy the First. Google this. Ptolemy the First. Soter. Serapis. S-E-R-A. Serapis. P-I-S. That is the cow. It's the bull. It's the bull with the horn on his head with the sun disk. That's Serapis. Serapis is Hapi, and Ausar is Serapis. So he was Ptolemy the First. Soter. Serapis. September Mary Amen. We're talking about Ptolemy the First. Soter. Serapis. September Mary Amen. September in Medunetha means September. Remember September, first time? His was September means first chosen of Ra. And Mary Amen means beloved of Amen. So let's just lay it on the table. Here you get the Medunetha translation and everything. Don't let them pull no tricks. So we rewrite, speak Medunetha. The Medunetha that have been translated. People, some fools in the conscious community fighting over the Medunetha can be translated because it's a game to keep your mind so it can never find absolute consciousness, absolute accountability. Okay, so now we're talking about calendar reform and why there's 9 days in a week. How do you know there's 9 days in a week? How do you know that before the Romans there was 9 days in a week? Okay, before the Romans and the Greeks, it was 9 days a week, and time was kept by charting stars that were visible in our calendar. Where the movement of the earth, stars, and moon, our ancient African indigenous primary ancestors were cosmically attuned. Let's run the poem back. So, anyways, so now Ptolemy has now you see the second calendar reform. If you Google it, it'll say second calendar reform is the decree of Canopus. The decree of Canopus is calendar reform number 2, 3, and 4 is the decree of Canopus 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, Canopus 1, 2, and 3 is Ptolemy the first, Ptolemy the third, and Ptolemy the fifth is the decree of Canopus. The decree of Canopus the decree of Canopus number 3 from Ptolemy the fifth is the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone is a fragment of diorite which was built on the decree of Canopus number 5 is which you see the decree, the stone, what's the stone that I say? The stone that got the one that Champollion translated, and it's got the Greek, it's got the demonic, the Rosetta Stone. Yeah, the Rosetta Stone. I'm sorry, Rosetta Stone. So to give you some type of perspective of what you're looking for here. The Rosetta Stone is the decree of Canopus number 3, which is Ptolemy the fifth. Okay? Now, why did they have to decree? Why did they have to do calendar reform? Now, remember that 700 years thing I told you? So that's the 300, every 130 years, 1 earned day is added to the calendar. So that after 700 years, when the spring equinox came, the sun wasn't in the east. It was in the east, but it drifted. It's called the drift. The sun drifted all the way over to the right. So that means that when you plant the seed on the spring equinox, remember it's an agricultural calendar. The crop is not going to grow to its fullest because it passed its time already. So if you don't have a bumper crop, that means you're not going to be able to feed the multitude of people. And now here comes the starvation and all the other shit. So from 754 BCE or AUC down to 3033. They've been raping and pillaging our African continent. They've been enslaving our people, raping our women, enslaving our children. And they're having orgies every night. They're freak partying and everything. These guys are having a party. Each king underneath the next king, under the next king. They're just partying and gorging and robbing the gold and silver and the precious metal and the precious stones. They're robbing everything. And all of a sudden, it got down past Darius, and all of a sudden, the food wasn't good. Where's the food at? So I said, well, what time is it? Nobody knew what time it was. They didn't know what time it was because they stopped people from understanding how to tell time. And the most of the people, and then boom. So the whole key was the spring equinox. So dig it. So check what happened here. This is how I peeped the move 50 years ago when I had to perform my due diligence. And so now we go to 40. Now we're at 33 BCE, right? We're at Ptolemy. Alexander died. Ptolemy now takes over Kemet. He becomes Ptolemy the first Serapis. He's the guy that looks like Jesus has a pot on his head. And his pot is the symbol for Serapis, right? He said, make me a god. They said, we ain't making you a god. You ain't nothing but you came in with your army. He started killing them. Well, you want to be a god? He killed them. Next one said, no. He killed them. He killed everybody on this side of Kemet. So now he went down lower, down to Memphis. And he ran into the priest down there. He said, listen, make me a god. I'm a king. He said, yeah, I'll make you anything you want to be, man. What do you want to be today? You want to be, what do you want to be? I want you to make me a god. So they put a pot on his head with a plan. Look, Google it. Google Ptolemy first, so they can put it on the screen for the people so you give them some receipts at the same time. They know this guy. They know I'm just running my mouth, being a comedian or something, man. You know what I mean? And they'll see the pot on his head. And that's the symbol for, that's for Soter. His name was Ptolemy the first, Soter. So he became Serapis. He became, Ausar was the savior. Ausar Unefakentiamenti. He's our paternal father. He became Ausar. He became the savior. Okay? And he was Tepin Ra Mary Amen. And then the list of Ptolemies went down. So we go down to, so we're going to get to the next calendar reform, which is 46 BCE. Okay, before we get to 46, no, okay, we're at 33. 333 is 333 BCE is Alexander. Ptolemy is at 299 BCE. Okay, we go down to 125. Google 125 BCE. Ptolemy the 8th. Christius. Google it. Ptolemy the 8th. Christius. This is 125 years before Jesus was supposed to be born, because Jesus was born in 0, right? 0 is AD is Ani Domini. It don't mean after death. It means Ani Domini, which means in the year of our Lord. That's AD. We live in AD right now, right? Okay. So now before that is BCE. So here it is, 125 BCE, not Arbor-Becodita, because they stopped using that because the Romans took over. And Arbor-Becodita in 754 BCE is Arbor-Becodita in Latin, means upon the founding of the city of Rome. And Romans didn't even exist back then in 754 AUC. The Romans didn't come into Greeks came before the Romans. The Greeks is 300 BCE. The Romans didn't come into 200, 150 BCE. So how the heck did they, right? So and the Romans wiped off that 750 years anyway, but let's just say, so now we go to 46 BCE. It's Caesar. It's called the Greco-Roman Caesarian calendar. And so Caesar rose up on Sosthenes, and Cleopatra is the Ptolemy's daughter. And her vizier is named Sosthenes. Google Sosthenes. S-O-S, Sosthenes. S-O-S-A-G. If you put that in S-O-S-A-G, you're going to get Sosthenes. Predictive text is going to give you Sosthenes because they know what you're looking for. Because why do we talk about? We say that you're a theologian or ecclesiastic. When you do the proper keywords in the World Wide Web, they know what you're looking for. Because they're going to give you information. That information is going to keep us black people mentally, physically, spiritually, mentally incompetent. That's when they're going to give you the information. So now here we go. 46 BC, Caesar said he puts his knife up to the neck of Sosthenes. He puts his genitals in his rectum, because you know what the Romans do. They're going to rape you. They're going to turn you out. You know what I mean? He says, I'm Caesar. I conquered Gaul. I came. I saw. I conquered. Does anybody know about that? In Latin, it's called Io vidi, io vedi, io veci. You ever hear anybody talk shit around you? Excuse my language. And they say, Io vidi, io vedi, io veci. They're talking about Caesar. I came, I saw, and I conquered. I'm Caesar. I conquered Gaul. Put me on the map. So we went from 9 days to 8 days. We went from 10 months to 11. Caesar got assassinated in the Senate at the Ides of March. Okay, you're supposed to be historians. You're supposed to be scholars. Do your due diligence. We supposed to hit in the Senate. They said, Caesar, don't go to the Senate. You're gonna get assassinated. All right, Caesar, io veci. I conquered Gaul. I could go into the Senate. He goes into the Senate and he gets stabbed by everybody in the Senate, right? Caesar dies. And the last person to stab him was who? Was the guy, his adopted son called Brutus. Here's another Latin word they get phrase. You see him in all the plays. Et tu, Brute? Et tu, Brute? You ever hear that thing? Et tu, Brute? You too, Brutus?
You too, Brutus?
Okay. Where do you think this comes from? Why is it so important? Because it's letting everybody know this is what time it was. And this is when we went from, then Augusta came. And Augusta, we went from, so Augusta rose up on Caesar and Anthony. He runs up on not Caesar, Cleopatra and Anthony. And he takes Anthony out the picture. And he rolls up on Sosthenes. He puts his knife up to his neck, and Sosthenes is having a bad 10 years, okay? He gonna get raped. They just treat him like his little boy child, you know what I mean? So Sosthenes says, okay, hey, ho, I'll put you on the map too. So we went from 8 days to 7. We went from 11 months to 12. How do we know it's true? How do we know it's true, family?
They left the numbers in the calendar.
Huh?
They left the numbers in the Gregorian calendar.
Okay. We know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 means dies. How come 10 means it's dies, but 12 is our, but the 10th month is dice, is now December is our 12th month. How can December be our 12th month? Then they went Nove. Nove in Spanish is Nueve. Nuevi is 9. So if Nove is 9, why is 11 is November our 11th month? If Octo is our 10th month, and Octo is the Latin root word for 8. You have an octagon has 8 sides. An octopus has 8 tentacles. So October is supposed to be our 8th month, but it's our 10th month. Hi, people. You never questioned this? Do you understand how they called you injured humanity? You understand why you're a mental, physical, spiritual, subjugated slave? I'm not saying you are. They're telling you are. Google it. And this is how so what happened was, now the Gregorian calendar, the Caesarean calendar adds in the leap year, puts in a leap year, because remember, they have at the beginning, the leap, they took it to 24 hours in every day, which makes it under the lunar cycle calendar, means every 130 years, one earned day will be added to the calendar, which you're not going to see back then. Your child is not going to see, and your third descendant is not going to see. But after the 8th descendant, the sun is not going to rise in the spring equinox. It's going to drift, and the food's not going to grow. That's why it's called calendar reform. Why do you have to keep reforming the freaking calendar? Because the crops weren't growing. How did you know? Because there ain't nobody eating, and now there's revolting, and now there's pillaging. You understand what I'm saying? There has to be some type of order. So they got to sketch up, because all they're thinking about is robbing Africa, enslaving you, taking all the gold. They're having parties and orgies every night. They got Bacchus, you know, the guy of Fruit of the Looms and the Fruit of the Loom underwears. You got the guy with the grape guy. That's called, he got 2 fruits in his mouth. He's called Bacchus. Google Bacchus. And Frigga. Frigga is Friday. Friday is Frigga and Bacchus. The eagle flies on Friday. Freaks galore. We're partying. We're freaking. We got wine out. It's partying. We're fornicating. They ain't care about nothing. But this every 130 days, time is catching them. That's what we have on our side. But yet we don't even know nothing about time. They got these fools in the conscious community telling you that the earth is flat. We have black people that actually think that the earth is flat. That's how our brain is gone. People, the planet cannot be flat. Why? Let me just say.
Nothing else is flat in outer space.
Excuse me?
Nothing else is flat in the cosmos.
Because things are moving through gravity. Yeah. And for any object in space to move through space with the less friction, it becomes oval. It becomes spherical. That's how you know. Because you're applying the 4 primordial field forces. What are the 4 primordial field forces? Electromagnetism, the strong force, gravity, and the weak force. Okay, we're going to go into all this when we get ready. We're just priming you up right now, family. I know we're going, I know feet. They're not showing you nothing. I didn't say, they said it's 10 days in a week. I'm telling you, yeah. There's 10 days a week. That means it's a lunar cycle calendar, and on the lunar cycle, show them the calendar picture. Show them the calendar picture. You got the calendar picture, right? There's 3 seasons. The seasons are Shamu, Aket, and Pert. And each season has 4 months. And each month has 30 days. 3 times 4 is 120. 120, 120, 120 comes out to 360. I'm not saying there's not 10 days in a week, but that's an agricultural aspect of the calendar. Why are you going to? And I just told you our calendar is solar, sidereal, and lunar. So I'm telling you there's 3 aspects. So why you're going to tell me there's only one aspect? The aspect is going to keep me a slave, and that's the aspect you're going to. My black teachers in the Kemetic community. I sold more calendars. I sold more of my calendars to the Ku Klux Klan than I sold to the African community. Don't mind me. They say PT's off the hook now. They gonna get Ptah off the hook now. He's digressing now. I'm just addressing it. I don't have time to entertain you. I'm not here to babysit. I'm not here to take your temperature. Okay. I'm only here to help you, assist you to experience the phenomenon of being. I'm sorry, my Seba.
Before we gonna have to close soon. Let's get into the
You gonna have to close soon. Oh, I gotta get past. Let me just zoom past all the Mickey Mouse things and just get you right past the calendar reform. I gotta close the calendar reform. 754 BCE down to 333 is Alexander. 299 is the Ptolemy. Is the Kriya Canopus 1, 2, and 3. Please write that down for you scholars, you historians. I'm gonna teach you about our story. Now we have the next, and then don't forget 125 BCE is Ptolemy the eighth Christius. Okay, because the next time is calendar reformers. Guess what it is? 335 or 325 AD. What is that called? The Council of Nicaea. You ever heard of the Council of Nicaea?
Mm-hmm.
That's when Emperor Constantine. He took all his popes and brought them all together. He said, "Well, there are so many gods. What is Jesus the Father, the Son, or is he the Holy Ghost, or is he all three, or is he? What the heck is the guy?" And there was a guy named Darius, an African Christian pope in Egypt. He said, "Well, shit." He said, Jesus don't even exist. That's my man Ptolemy from down the street. that's my cousin Ptolemy. Ptolemy the first, Soter, Serapi, September, Mary Ahmed. So now when you get to Ptolemy the eighth Christius, just Google it. You got a Roman document that tells you of Asclepius. I find that the people here in Rome are very fickle with their religious things because they got these people running around. These people running around saying they're the bishops of Christ. Now here we got the bishops of Christ documented in 125 BCE, and Jesus don't show up chronologically until 0. So here's the Christian religion running amok in 125 years before Jesus even gets here. Okay, but yet they're gonna tell me Jesus was born in year 0. So the gig is up. You got to be a real stupid person to think you're a Christian. I don't even go there. I don't want to attack no one's religious belief. Okay, let me just move right on because I know you're stupid people anyways. Let's just move right on. I just an elephant in the room. I'm almost 70 years old. All the old teachers are already dead, and we're still doing the same stupid thing. You ain't doing it on me. I'll let you know. I ain't got no time to babysit no one. You like me, you don't like me. It's not my business. I'm just here to give you your divine breathwork, which we're going to take you right into the cosmos, and we're going to reveal the whole essence of everything. But right now, we're talking scholarship and history. Ain't got me dealing with my black teachers, supposed to be my peers. They're going to tell me that I'm lying to you. I'm giving you the math. I'm giving you the sacred science. I'm giving you a cultural spirituality so you can figure it out yourself. You know how to count from 1 to 5 to 1 to 10? Okay? And now we go down to the calendar reform number 5 is the Council of Nicaea. How do we know? It's Jesus, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It wasn't even about all that. You look to the final page on the Council of Nicaea, and at the bottom of you know what it says at the bottom? That they moved the new year to the spring equinox. March 21st became New Year's because it was January the 1st because the Roman consulates took office on January the 1st, and then they started telling time by whoever was in office at that time. But when it came to growing crops, they had to fix it because the people were starving again. So here we go. Let me just get. I don't see, but just hang with me, see. But I'll be right up. You got me started now. Right? You got my fingerprint on this. I got to make sure my people know this is Ptah Sikasa. Okay. So now, it says that they moved the spring equinox because somebody had to figure out the every 130 years, 100 days added to the calendar. So they had to put the calendar back on the spring equinox. So the next people that sees it from AD up to now don't see it. But guess what happened after that? That's 325 AD. In 1585, the Gregorian calendar, where Pope Gregory initiated the Gregorian calendar, is the final calendar reform. That's the calendar that's on your wall. And there was no crops growing. They couldn't even grow a potato. It was mass starvation. So what did Pope Gregory do? He waived all debts because the calendar is only used for debts and what you owe for your rent and for your stocks and your bonds or whatever it was. It was all about. So he waived everybody's debts. You don't owe nothing for 14. I think it was 21 days. He waived it, and they waited and they waited and they waited for the spring equinox for the sun to rise in the east. And on that day, on that morning, they implemented the Gregorian calendar. Okay, in my post, you'll see that at the end of each post, I got the whole Gregorian calendar literature right there. Just read it. It's right there for you. Everybody knows this. And all people who are scholastic, theologians or ecclesiastic people know this information. All scholars, all pastors, which are ecclesiastic, is your pastor down the street, knows this. He knows this. And it's to be kept away from black people because we can't let them know. Because if the black people know that it was a global presence, that we ruled this whole planet. But now we're mental, physical, spiritual subject. We're not even considered human beings. We're less than human. So this is why I'm so mad at them. But anyway, so okay, well, all the way up, that's the 5 calendar reforms. You know that, you read that, but we can get right out of it. Let's come out the calendar now. Go ahead, Siba. Let's move right along.
Let's get into the Neteru before we close. Talk about some of the primordial forces and things.
Yes, the primordial force. But first, you have to know the primordial forces. You have to be able to separate them from atomic energy, the subatomic. Now we're going to go mathematically, scientifically, with your cultural, cosmic, collective. Remember, we're triangulating so that everything there's absolute accountability and star validation. This isn't me. These are the cosmic forces. So we just got through telling you that between the 24 hours of the day split between the Duat and the Twat, because that made it from 360 days to the 365 days, the 5 extra days. Where do you think these 5 extra days came from? These are the days that the earth netters were born. There's 5 extra earth netters. 5 days that the earth netter was born. They was here and fire, blood, flesh, and air. They here, their names are Heru Asar, which they call Osiris. Sut, which is Uncle Set. Then there's As, who they call Isis, and Nebhet, which is called Nephias. Okay? These are the 5 children born of the womb of Nut and begotten of Seb. These are called the first ancestors. So when I speak to you of the first ancestors, these are who I'm speaking of. This is the Ennead. Exactly. Here you go here. Here's the Ennead, not the Ogdad. The Ogdad is the Kemenu. The Ogdad is the ancient ones who are 8. These are the Kemenu, which are 9. And these 9 are called Puat. Puat means 9 in Medunetta. They are Puat Neteru or Puat Neteru. Neteru are the gods and goddesses. So that's 9 is Puat. These are called the Puat Neterus. The following shall be said by a person when they enter into the halls of double right and double truth, but the truth is purged of all sins, when you see the faces of all the Neterus and pronounce the Usa Medu Nefer Hekau, Anuka Bet Queb, Anuka Bet Queb, Anuk Pertotep, Anuk Pertotep. I am pure, I am pure. I come in peace, I come in peace. Before we continue on anymore, let me first say my Hesi, my Saku. How come you didn't stop me from the beginning like this, Siba? My Hesi, my Saku, my affirmation, my cosmic libation, so that I may address the cosmic forces that afford allow me love, guidance, protection through the experiences of daily, to the experiences of daily matter. And I say, Hete poo, Dua, Dua, Duau, Duau, Anezarek, Ramech, Hotep. Greetings in divine greatness, divine excellence to the first families of the New Age order. My Nagas, my Shemsurus, my Nesubitis, my Hemets, my Sibas and Sibats, my Mugnatats, the immortal ones of Ma'at, cherished. Phenomenon of precession, New Age order, great golden age of Ma'at, Apiyasar, and all citizens, descendants of the Nile Valley, cultural, cosmic, collective consciousness, spirituality. O Ausar Mut Pat Neteru Pa Nebu, the mother of the Neterus, the mistress of Pet, the maker of mankind, she who is mighty, and Usa Medu Nefer Hekau, divine words of power, mother of all initiations, bless and protect us humble servants for Ankh life now present, for we seek the counsel of the ancient ones and practice daily the ancient Martin ways and ancient Martin truth. We strive evermore to become one with you in this world and in the existence to come. We ask that you bless and protect us on this, the 241st Heru, day of the year after the heliacal rising. 119 Heru days remaining until Ubin Suptit, Suptit Cyrus rising, Upuat, Samai Tawi, Wetran Pet Digit Heb, New Year's celebration. The 25th Heru day of the 7th Abit month of Herukuti, the 3rd Heru day of Tuamutef, the 1st Heru day of the 1st Abit month of the 3rd Ertra season of Pert, Renpet, year number 13 AFNK/ST. After the founding of New Kemet, Naga Kemet, Samatawi, Phenomenon Precession, New Age Order, Great Golden Age, Amada Piasa. Ask that you bless our families and friends and all those of us who gather together to worship in your most holy, sacred, and glorious ancient Tamarian name of Ausar Mukpatnataru Panebu. For in the act of seeking you, there is much comfort. So as it is spoken, so let it be written, so let it be done. So shall it be for now and forever forward. Ra never teshara. Panata apupama at. Onkwas de jed. Onkuja saneb. Uben nefi kia panebuharu mati. Rising always in divine excellence with ma'at. Every day, all day. All day, every day. Atumra, Protep.
Dua.
Continue, Siba. Dua, Siba Spata, Sikasa, your words are my true. You are truth and righteously great. You have commanded the cosmic forces that forward and all you love, guys, protect your daily experience upon the matter, and your words are responded to the ears of the ancient ones, the partner to those and the ancestors. We all chant Dua. That's for any student that is of mine would be saying that right now. Okay, I got to take a break. Won't you let fill the audience in right now, see with some information. But this old man is coughing, gagging.
Yeah.
Continue.
All right. So now, in closing, where are some places that people can connect with you? They could join your classes. Where can people find your book, your calendar?
Oh yes. I'm located. I'm online with these classes every Monday on Zoom. I'm at www.ptah, PTAHORIGINALS.com, ptahoriginals.com. It'll be in the description below when you get to it, and you can also get my Cash App on the description below, and you could get the calendar, the Ipetaru, Shabik Temtuaru Bamat, the ancient Rasarian, Kemetic, Nubian, solar silver lunar calendar, and the Neteruological star timeline. You get that. You can order that online. And the book, and Steve will show you the book. My book is called The Cosmic Egg, aka the Primeval Germ. The egg is an acronym. It means EGGG is the cosmic egg, but the egg is an acronym. That acronym is energy, growth, germination, and gravity. That's what the egg stands for. Energy, germination, growth, and gravity. It's AKA the Primeval Germ, a journey of 59 plus 21 zeros, in which we have the RSGUT, the Rasarian Star Grand Unification Theorem. Theorem. E plus P equals L/B, which is E is energy, nerve, plus P, power, which is Usa, equals L, Unk, which is life, and slash is B, being, which is in Meduneta So that's E plus P equals L is the Rasarian Star Grand Unification Theorem. And we was gonna go, but like I say, we broke you all down into the nice atomic energy. You understood the basics, the science, the math, the cosmic, collective conscious spirituality, astrology, astronomy. We gave you the Meduneta for the resonance, the sound, the vibrations, frequencies, perturbation, to bring us all under and under the divine cosmic frequencies. And we will go into our next show. Will be coming up whenever the Stephen lets us. And we will go into the origins of existence, the crazy development of the universe, which is the Zep Tepi, the origins of existence. And we're going to break into the Rasarian Star Grand Unification Theorem. And it's going to be, we're going to take it even further than what we did today. Right now, I kept you level on the scholarship level, let you know it's about our story, not his story. Because our story is about immortality. Do you know what it feels like to be an uncrowned Nasut, Hemet, king and queen, lacking honor, a crown, a throne, a Merkur, a solar silver lunar calendar, a Merkur is a pyramid, and just about everything? But let me tell you of our story, of our most earliest ancient African indigenous primordial ancestors in their glory. those who were born from the great line of kings and queens, Nasuts and Hemets. Those who were born from the great line of Nasuts and Hemets, kings and queens, from diamonds and pearls and emeralds and all sorts of precious things. Everyday trinkets for those of us who were born from the suits and heads from the great line of kings and queens. Everyday trinkets for those of us who were born from the great line of kings and queens. But without your past, you can only live life in half man, half beast, half slave. And this trend of thought is all you have sought, all you have bought without knowledge of yesterday. Without knowledge of yesterday. This is Ptah Sikasah, saying to you in the words of our paternal father, Ausar Neferkentiamenti, that within the whole of the universe, nothing is ever added and nothing is ever lost. This has been a broadcast of The Inner with Siva Nelson. Close it in, Nelson. Close it in from The Inner.
And that concludes this episode of The Inner. Until next time.